Today we're joined by Orsini, Director of Security Operations and Deputy CISO at SilverSky, a leading provider of advanced cybersecurity services and MDR for SMBs and mid-market organizations. With a career built inside security operations centers, incident response teams, and threat intelligence environments, EJ brings deep hands-on experience managing cyber defense at scale and helping clients navigate real-world threats with speed, precision, and confidence. EJ, welcome to the Go Phish podcast. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with the SilverSky story. What does the company focus on, and what kind of clients do you guys typically serve?
Yeah, so I've been here now about 7 months. I came over because I knew the current CISO and we wanted to work together again. We worked in a previous stock together. And the company is an MDR company, right? So we help companies who either can't or don't want to have their own security teams. And we do that by services, as we spoke about, some phishing services, CISO, and things of that nature. We work mostly with small and medium businesses, should I say, but we have expanded into some of the larger businesses as well more recently.
Okay. Your dual role, you lead security operations and also serve as deputy CISO. How do you balance both sides of that job?
Yeah, that's a fun question. Mostly now I've been working in the SOC, right? When I came over, I think the security operations piece is something the company wanted to harp on a lot. So I've been very focused on improving SOC operations, getting more proactive when it comes to customers, helping them understand their environments more, and putting the SOC in front of them more. I think a lot of places are used to the SOC being that silent partner, right? You only hear from them when something goes wrong or when you have an issue. Wanted to change that and alter it. So instead, we try to put ourselves out there more. We have meetings with the customers on a regular basis. We also do our own form of, it's not a podcast, but a monthly meeting where we show customers different type of breakdowns of potential threats, how we thwart it and how they can help thwart it as well. And then we also send out newsletters and a couple other things to put ourselves out there more, as well as help the customer work with their board or stakeholders in understanding what the security team is doing for them, both their internal team and us.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So educating while delivering the service, in giving customers a sort of insight into what you guys are actually doing or what they're actually paying for, which is cool. What's it like running a SOC day to day? I mean, what's a typical day look like? And what's changed in the way that you and your team will handle threats over the last few years?
Yeah, so I would love to say there's a typical day in the SOC, and I'm sure most people would say there is, but I don't particularly think there is, right? Some days you're just doing 10 hours of answering cases from customers in a very low concern environment. But other days you've got potential 0 days and breaches and things that customers come to you with. So for us, a normal day is working with customers, both in cases as the meetings, as I talked about before, informing customers things about their environment, as well as we do training internally for the team as well as externally. There's meetings with both internal and external pieces. So I think there is no norm, right? I think that's the best way to talk about that. For new products or new things that have happened in the space in general, I'm sure you and everyone else listening has heard the term AI probably 8 million times in the last few years. So that's the biggest thing that we're still battling today, I think, right? Stocks everywhere are trying to implement automation and some form of artificial intelligence to help them out. I am maybe on the opposite end of the spectrum where I do love the AI and machine learning aspects, but I think it's important to have the people there who understand that and also understand what that is telling you. So fighting that in the last few years, the concerns of people losing jobs or the concerns of AI taking over and balancing that with what it can do and how it can be really helpful for your environment is something everyone everywhere is working on right now and still priority.
And EJ, have you seen a real impact from it in the SOC to help you and your team? Is it really impactful? Is it really moving the needle? Or is it just a lot of hype still?
I think it's a little of both, right? And that's a very defensive answer, I guess. But it's a little of both because if you use it in the right way, it can be
Yeah.
super helpful.
It's only as good as the human behind it deploying that in the
Right. So, you've got the potential of when a case comes in, you can enrich that data with things like the background of the IP address or the destination or things like that. And AI and machine learning is really good at giving you that information immediately, right? Rather than an analyst having
Yeah.
to go out and find it or go to a website and put all that information in. It's pulling it up automatically for you. It's helping make decisions. Then there's
Yeah.
automated blocking and things like that. And all that is super beneficial. But there are times where, that automated blocking is based off of a percentage, right? Even look at like phishing emails. People get those, and some systems say, hey, if it's 85% assumed to be a fish, we're going to block this. But
Yeah.
you may not be comfortable with that. So your employees may have to say, okay, we're not going to auto block that. It can give us that percentage, but maybe we want that to be 90 or 95% because some things just seem worse than they actually are or not actual phishing emails.
Yeah. That kind of leads on to a question I had around the SOC. And maybe this is the solution to that. I mean, you've only got limited humans in the SOC to manage multiple customers 24/7. If multiple events are taking place at the same time, how do you prioritize? How do you triage where your human priority is going to be to support? How are you guys actually doing that if there are multiple events happening at the same time?
So for our current environment and some previous environments I've been in, it's based off of that AI, right? We get a severity, and
Okay.
that severity is the determining factor. Hey, if this is a higher critical issue, we're going to take a fast look at it and make sure it's meant to be that way, right? Because as we said, the intelligence is not always correct. It may bring in something as a critical, and then you look at it and there's some defenses that company has or we have in place that knock it down to a medium or a low or something like that. So after
Yeah.
that quick view, we start to prioritize and put them in their queue of what's most important and what can wait a few minutes or something like that. And then it is dependent on clients, right? You've got government clients where a critical issue with a government client does kind of
Yeah.
take priority sometimes. I'm not saying that's the case here, but just in general. And you have to think about those things as well. I think the hardest part is you and leadership knowing what you want, but then passing that down to those employees that you were speaking of, right? You can have 40, 60 people that all are working in the SOC, and they all have to understand those priorities just as well as leadership does, or
Yeah.
it falls through and it doesn't happen the way you want it to.
For sure. And what's keeping that team busiest right now? Is there any particular attack patterns or threat actors dominating right now that's really keeping you guys busy and active?
I don't think for us specifically, there's no one particular threat actor, but the main thing we get now is always impossible travel alerts, right? Logging in from different locations at the same time or very close to each
Mm.
other, which
Mm.
can be tricky. You've got VPN now that people log in to watch Netflix in different areas and forget work is attached, or they're just traveling and want to log back in via a US IP for customer base, stuff like that. So it's understanding if it's a true impossible travel alert, blocking it, or if it's just an employee. We have a lot of customers that have that issue now because their employees don't necessarily travel. But like I said, the Netflix thing has kind of taken over. And it's not just Netflix, it's
Yeah.
whatever people want to log in, but being able to watch different shows in different areas is important to people.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's always going to be raised and flagged on your end as potentials. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Interesting.
absolutely.
What about the human element, EJ? From your view inside the trenches, how much of the work comes back to human error and behavioral risks?
This is always a scary question when we get this because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But I think a lot of the time, the human error is one of the biggest issues when you talk about these things. And it's not a fault or because people are inherently bad, but it's people are either used to the way things work or they don't want blockers. I can't tell you how many times we've been at companies that either the IT team or the CEO or someone in an important position of power says, hey, we don't want to enable MFA because we don't want to have that hassle. Or,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
everyone else has to use email a certain way, but I just want to use it on my Android basic application and not through the Outlook app or
Yeah.
the specific app. And it's
Yeah.
just because people are so used to the way they've done things, it's hard to change. So I think that is one of the biggest issues you find, is just trying to retrain people. But then internally goes back to what I mentioned before, where you have to get everyone on the same page and understanding what it is that the company's goal is or what your team's goal is, right? I'm a big advocate of, as soon as I go somewhere, starting a training program, just of what my values or my culture is for the team that we're trying to build, so they can understand where that is. And I think that gives that background enough to start understanding what we want them to do or how we want the team to look and work together.
Yeah. Love that. And are your clients starting to adopt this and take the people side of things seriously? Are your clients demanding employee training? Is it, I know it's something that you guys offer. Who's driving it? Is it driven by the client and their awareness of it and demand for it? Or is it something that you guys are still pushing quite hard on your clients?
I think it tends to be both sides now. In today's world, you see so many issues and things coming up that people are just inherently becoming more understanding of security and how things should be. But we do occasionally have to push a customer and say, hey, you've got these people that are all US based, for instance, and you don't have a geolocation. So you're not seeing when people are logging in from these other countries or other places that they really aren't going, but it's there. So I think that's something we're trying to help implement, even in the SOC, right? Meeting with customers before we're fully set up to say, hey, are these some of the things you're looking at, right? Do you have only people that don't travel and stay in one country? If so, let's put a location around there. So if they leave it, you have to confirm with them that they actually left. Or not giving everyone special circumstances and trying to keep as much of a baseline as possible is another important one that you work with customers on. But I do think it's twofold. I think customers have gotten really smart to understand where security should be now.
Yeah, I think the US market is no doubt, right up there with the top levels of cyber maturity, I think, globally right now. And businesses operating in the US are certainly some of the most mature out there. But you're still going to see different levels of security maturity. What are some of the key gaps that you see when clients first come to you? And what are the best prepared ones do differently?
Yeah, so we've got customers worldwide, right? And we have SOC teams all over as well to kind of help that with 20. And I think the biggest issue we see is just understanding audits and compliance in today's world. Like, unfortunately, there are different laws and regulations everywhere, right? You got GDPR in the EU, and even in the US, we have some for some states, and California has their own. And then if you go over to India, they have It's like being able to understand all of these different compliances and everywhere. So understanding what customers we take on and knowing how to do those things. And luckily that's not necessarily in my own, but we do have to understand it. And then other gaps is just understanding if you have policies and procedures in place for your teams, and that's both us helping customers and to your point, training and awareness programs. I think that is probably one of the easier things, but it gets overlooked a lot because you're just trying to onboard people. You need them right away. You're not hiring because you just want to hire. You're hiring because you need that position and it needs to start and help right away. And that's in the US or any.
And the training bit is always a bit of a tough one. It's a bit of a sticky one because your tech products, you roll that out. You don't need everyone's buy-in from it. It gets brought in from the top and the security team rolls it out and that gets rolled out to every endpoint. And that is now, there's rules and policies in place. But the training side of things, you still need the humans to actually take part and you need to get them to comply. And that's tough. It's always a tough thing. It's the human problem. And training's a pain in the butt sometimes. A lot of companies don't like it.
Endpoints that technology's on. There's no culture or history from a mindset. It just listens right away because that's what it's supposed to. Where people have these things that they were brought up on and understanding, and everyone learns differently. Some people learn right away by the book, and some people need to take some time and work with their hands. all of those things have to get that training. Every different personality has to be able to understand that training. Otherwise, it won't be as successful as you need it to be.
Yeah. No, I love it. You've been in the space for years now, EJ. Any war stories, lessons learned, big pivots that have shaped your approach to cybersecurity?
Yeah, I've been in the space for 12 plus war stories. It's along the lines of what we've talked about, right? I've gone to companies and seen firsthand where not having a people first or team first approach can hurt you and hurt the development of that. We keep talking about onboarding and training. I think those are the worst stories you have, right?
Yeah.
People come in and they expect one, and then they get something else. Or you have a company that has a great training program and a great shadowing and mentorship, but they have a kind of a blame culture when something goes wrong. And instead of just telling these, hey, if something happens, just let us know right away and we can work with it, it's looking for the immediate scapegoat.
Yeah.
So I think the two things are some of the worst kind of stories, but I really enjoy going to a company where there's a lot of to grow, because it helps you and keeps you excited to go. SOPs and escalations and quality assurance are important things. So I think they're very entertaining and interesting and continuous, and even in small patterns, make.
Yeah. Brilliant. EJ, what's ahead for SilverSky, and what have you got personally excited about, coming up in the next year?
I don't know personally. I've got my family, so that's always a day.
Yeah,
And not looking too far ahead, just in now. As far as SilverSky, in terms of moving to that next step of the stock maturity model, right? We've implemented a lot of automation recently and trying to help mitigate some of these cases to not have alert fatigue. But I think improving that more and tuning out even more false positives and working with automation of repetitive tasks to help the team grow. I think those are all really important to me in the short term, because in 6 months to a year, I want the team to be able to come in and train each other, right? Level threes, training level ones, and not just focus on this. And be able to automate. Maybe some evidence collection is something I'm looking into now. I don't think that's huge in our space right now, but those audits and compliance that we talked about, I think being able to automate some of that so that when they come around, it's already there.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. Before we wrap up, go ahead and let our listeners know how they can connect with you online and how they can find out more about SilverSky.
So SilverSky, we have our webpage, which is silversky.com. We are here based in the US and with a small office over in the UK. And then personally, I'm on LinkedIn, Efrain Orsini Jr. or EJ. You can find me there. I think that's my main source of info for everyone else. I welcome people to follow me. I like to post on there for SOC analysts right now and people trying to break into the industry. I think giving back to the cybersecurity industry that has, to this point, given me so much. So I'll post things on there. I'm always open to talk, send me messages, and yeah, I'd love to meet it.
EJ, thanks very much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time.
Dan, thanks so much. It was nice talking to you.
Thanks very much, everyone. You've been listening to the Go Phish podcast. Catch you all next time. Bye.